Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Fearsome Flowing podcast. I am Monique Renee, and if you are new, welcome. I am extremely excited to have a dear friend, an incredible woman, mother, entrepreneur join us today. And let me introduce you to Misha Kurlya. So Misha is the owner of Misha's Cupcakes. If you are in South Florida, you definitely know about Misha's Cupcakes. If you don't, you've got a problem. So you got to go find one. But Misha's Cupcakes started in 2005. She now has 6 store locations selling at Whole Foods, Milam's, farm stores, Gold Belly, White Label, and now vending machines, which I can't wait to talk about. Because the last time we actually met, you started to plant that seed about the vending machine. So I can't wait to hear about that technology and how that's working for you. But I'm just so excited to have you here because you have an incredible story. And I look forward to diving deep with you, seeing, what's important in your life today, where your life has taken you, all of the juicy learnings that you have, and yeah, and sharing it with everyone out there who is looking to really stand in their power, show up fiercely for themselves, however that looks, so that they can experience more purpose, more passion, and essentially all of those things that lead to flow, right? And living in a state of flow. So welcome, Misha.
Thank you, Monique. I'm so glad to be here. It's so nice to see you, even if you're not right next to me,
I
but
know.
you're right in front of me.
And we're
It's
so close
wonderful.
to each other, literally. I
Exactly.
can throw a
It's
stone at you right now.
literally.
One day I will have a physical studio where someone can sit next to me and have a cup of coffee. That's my
Ooh, or a
goal.
cocktail.
Yeah, right. Or a
Mhm.
cocktail, we do
That
cocktails.
could be
Yeah,
okay,
yeah,
right?
yes, girl. We can do that.
Yeah.
Giving me actually an idea. I need to like
Yeah.
rebrand this. I'll figure it out.
Ooh. Maybe to send cocktails over here
Oh
and
my
I send
God.
cocktails over
Wait, wait,
there.
wait, wait. Cocktails and
Yeah.
cupcakes.
Yeah. That's what we
Okay.
needed. You can have the cupcakes and I'll have the cocktail.
Okay, beautiful. Love it. So
Yeah.
Misha, I start these conversations by diving into a fierce moment in our life, right? I don't define fierce as angry per se at all. Although sometimes it comes from, that inner fire that we can call it anger sometimes where we're stuck, we're frustrated, we haven't stood up for ourselves in some way, shape, or form, or we're tired of where we are and we want to push ourselves out of where we are. But mostly it's about moments where it's like enough is enough. It's time for something to
Yeah.
shift, something to change. And sometimes that means doing the hard thing. I'm sure that you've had many fierce moments in your life, but which is the one that you'd like to dive into and share today?
Um, as you're saying this, I'm thinking there are so many moments that are, I mean, I like the way you put it, fierce, because it's like, it's almost like that wake up. And I feel like during my time when had started the business, working the business, and back in 2005, when I'd had my first child, Ella, and it was like I felt like I was living in a cloud for so
Mm,
many years, like in this like delusional, not fantasy, but just this like cloud where it was, you have kids,
yeah,
a lot of work,
yeah,
and it's that wake up, do, and then piling more stuff on top of more stuff, right? So
right,
it's like, oh, let me pile another child on top of the child. And then so if we have relationship issues, let's avoid that. And let's then add another store, or just like, oh, let's get a dog, or, like those things, the constant adding, and
right,
then realizing like, wait, so all the stuff that I put in my life to distract myself, or to I thought that it would bring joy, or it would be like, okay, we can do this and then I don't have to worry about this part, that'll resolve. It just got to the point where it's not resolving,
yeah.
and I'm living in this cloud, and I need to get out of the cloud. I have to be able to see clearly.
Hmm.
And I I feel like, when you exhaust all measures to rectify like your situations, therapies
Right.
and this and that and the other, and talking and all that stuff. And you really feel like you've done all that you can to get to a point where, okay, let's try to fix the relationship. Let's try to fix the situation. And then it just doesn't work. It's like, I'm done.
I'm done.
I'm
Yeah.
done. I'm done. But it's like, when you get in that point, you think, okay, I'm seeing the light. But over these last 8.5 years, and I'm like, wow, there's been many moments where I thought I had gotten out of the clouds, but there's
Yeah.
still, lingering, because it's like, oh, I realized, oh, I didn't know how to do this, or I didn't know I could feel this way. And I didn't know I could experience myself in a different way. So I
Yeah.
guess it was, wow, it's a really long answer, but so much of it really did come from leaving a relationship behind that it began wonderfully, but then I realized that it was just a reenactment of a childhood, uh, dynamic between like my father kind of stuff, and it wasn't healthy.
Yeah.
And it was something that, I'm grateful for it having happened. Um, and I'm very grateful to have moved on from that.
Yeah. Gosh,
Yeah.
I feel you. And um, I resonate so much with that story. And I don't often talk about, the separation, the divorce. It sounds
Yeah.
like for you it's been 8 years since.
Yeah. Like 8.5 almost.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. And
And
for me it's been 4.5. Um, and I think that first of all, congratulations, right? And I have
Mhm.
to tell that to myself,
I know.
a lot of times. And sometimes we feel guilty for wanting to celebrate something like that.
I know.
But the truth is that when you are in a scenario where you're filling an empty bucket
Yeah.
and not recognizing that we keep filling it,
Right.
causing more issues,
Yeah.
and getting to that point of the pop,
Right. The big blow up.
right? The big blow up that um, it takes so much of our energy, of our love, of our vision, of everything to be able to really just move forward and begin to clear a new path. And I don't know about for you, it sounds like it was similar. I had this idea that the minute I finally said, okay, it's taken this long, all the fixing didn't work,
Yeah.
all the trying to fill the bucket didn't work. Um, I had this idea that the minute I actually stood in that fierce moment, that everything in my life was going to change. Poof,
Super fast.
like a magic pill, right?
Like you take off the
Oh,
clothes.
I'm going to be
Yeah.
clear. I'm going to know exactly who I am now. I'm going to know exactly the direction that I'm going. I'm going to feel perfect.
I
And
wish.
and it is a freaking journey.
Right. And then you realize, wait a second, I made that step and it was really, really, really hard.
Yeah.
But all this other stuff is coming at me with, I know we both had those transitions where you have to move from your house,
Yes.
uproot your family, make all these changes financially, but
Yes.
emotionally, like, listen, even if there's problems, they're still there next to you, then they're gone. And it's like this newfound freedom, which then you're uncomfortable with, but then you're like, oh, then you start to be very protective of, right?
Right. Oh yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I mean, the protection is real. Actually, we're going to talk a little bit about this because I found looking at your astrology,
Oh, tell
um,
me about that.
looking at the energy of the year that you're in right now is actually the energy of the year that I was in when the separation happened and I moved. And it literally, I had to move into this apartment where I am right now the week of the closing of the pandemic. When everything shut down, I was
Wow.
moving, going, oh my God, I'm going to get arrested for being on the street, because it literally was like 2 days before they had announced everything is shut down.
Oh,
And
that's awful.
so the energy of this year is called the cocoon, and we'll talk about what that means.
I want to know.
But for me, and I don't like saying this because I know that the suffering was real for so many during COVID. A
Right.
lot of people got sick, a lot of people lost
Sure.
their lives. Being enclosed was not a positive thing for a lot of individuals.
Yeah.
I got COVID, I got sick, so did my daughter. She was living with me. It was the two of us. But what
Wow.
was positive about it is that this literally was a physical cocoon for us
Yeah.
during that massive transition, um, which COVID added a whole layer to that, which was
Absolutely.
kind of weird. But being able to just sit with what happened, the emotions, the ups and downs of it, the moments of joy, the moments of guilt, the moments of sadness, having that cocoon like environment helped my transformation happen. And that's what the cocoon year is all about. So you are in your cocoon year
Oh,
right
that's
now. And
interesting.
I'm wondering if you're feeling it. So cocoon is the energy of earth, right?
Okay.
Where, the archetype that I like to use is like the mountain. The mountain doesn't move. The mountain is very stable and sturdy and strong. And, there's a peak at it, right? So there's this energy. I want to move up. I want to scale something. I want to get somewhere, but something has to still transform within me. And so I need to go into the cave of the mountain and give myself a lot of space and time for getting grounded, for reflecting, for asking myself big questions, and really just allowing yourself to kind of get rooted
Yeah.
before you push yourself up that mountain.
Oof.
A lot of times we feel like we want to make something happen in a cocoon year, but the advice is don't really push something tremendously new. It may not work and you
Oof.
may spin your wheels. What you have to do is provide yourself a lot of self-care, a lot of that extra alone time
Yeah.
to think about what needs to shift inside of me for this next big stage in my life. So I'm wondering what
That's
you may
good.
what you may be feeling and if it's resonating for you.
It is. It is, especially because as you're talking about this, I'm like, oh, yes, that and that and that. Because this last, I guess since like November, I've just had a very unusual time, just where transitions in my brain, like about my relationships and about my work and all these things. And I realized that I needed that. Like I needed to be by myself. And
Mm-hmm.
I took a trip to the Turks and Caicos. I went to this wonderful place that I love called Parakeet. And I spent like five or six nights there by myself.
Yeah.
It's it was so magnificent, but it was like a small shift, right? So
Yeah.
I was able to kind of like not think about all the stuff. And I came back and I felt like, okay, I'm on a stabler ground emotionally,
Yeah.
mentally. Okay. But then this whole year up until the beginning of May, it's felt a little rocky. And it's been a hard year, albeit it's gone quickly.
Right.
But I ended up going, and it's so many reasons why I wasn't going to go on this trip with my good friend Crystal. She had started planning this in September, and she told me that she was finishing her master's and she was going to. This is my ex divorce attorney, who's my best friend. So
Okay.
she's like, I'm finishing my master's, and in May, I'm going to go do the Camino de Santiago. And I was like, oh, that sounds nice. I go, well, how long? So she's doing 40 days. And I said,
Wow.
well, I'll come with you to start it off. And so we were so excited. Da da da, plan. Well, our flights got canceled in, I don't know, it was like February. And
Okay.
we were going, oh my gosh, well, this is crazy. So then it was kind of this back and forth. Do we go? Do we go? And this moment of just like, I'm going. So we go, and I felt like that confusion cloud, all that stuff in my head, because we have a lot of transitions in the business right now,
Yeah.
things that I want to do, things that I want to change. And I really want to just kind of shrink internally to get really clear on all of our expenses, all of our plans that we
Yeah.
want to do, but to get really organized inside so that then we can kind of launch from a position of strength and
Yes.
just not this chaos, right?
Right.
So all of these feelings are going through my relationship. I have I've been with someone for a long time, like 8 years. And, my thought was like, I wanted to be in like a more, I don't know, like a marriage situation, right?
Right.
But we have differences in that area. And I was just not happy, just
Yeah.
unhappy. And I go on this trip. Monique, it was like the hardest, it was the hardest thing I've ever done because it was the first day we flew into San Sebastian and we
Okay.
spent the day and night there. Beautiful food, people,
Yes.
wonderful, great everything. But then we went to France to Saint Jean Pied de Port to start the walk.
Okay.
Oh my gosh. Here I'm thinking, we got those little sticks, and I'm like, this
Yeah.
is so dumb. These sticks are dumb. I don't want to use the sticks. I don't know what was wrong with it. I was just like, these sticks. We start the walk, and the first day is 18 miles and a 4,300 elevation, 4,300 foot elevation. Thank goodness I really didn't like think too much about it
Right.
up to planning it because I probably would have not gone.
Right.
It was really hard.
It was hard.
It was hard. And it was very challenging, not just like physically, but to the point where I'm like, why am I doing this? And my friend and I are like trudging up this hill for the 15th time and like this sucks. So it was day after day after day of this. And I only did 5 days of walking,
Right.
walked like 65 mile, no, yeah, like 65, 70 miles in those days.
Wow.
But I don't know what happened. It was the first time I've ever just been able to like focus only on my steps. I
Yes.
couldn't focus on anything else because
Mm,
didn't focus on my steps, I would fall.
right.
Rocky, it was elevated,
Yes.
the inclines, declines, it was precarious. And my brain cleared. And it
Wow. And you were immersed with earth,
it
which
was,
is beautiful, right?
yeah.
This science that I use and that I talk about is a very practical science. And when we are in an earth year, the advice is surround yourself with earth, put your feet in the dirt, walk up the mountain, so your spirit was already kind of guiding you on a journey that is going to help you come to that clarity, right? And transform whatever needs to be transformed so that you can be in that space of, okay, I know where I'm going to take the
Going
business. I know what I'm going to
yeah.
do. I know what the right thing is to do. Um, so how did you, I'm going to come back to El Camino because this is like something actually that I've been wanting to do for so long. And
Worth
um,
doing.
who knows if I'll ever do it, but I, I just really believe in putting ourselves in scenarios like that, where it has to take us completely out of our daily life. Like right
Yeah.
now, I'm immersed in a program that right now it's kind of fun, but it scares the bejesus out of me because I know it's going to get harder. It's called A Year of Transformation, and
Oh,
it's with a beautiful human being called Watkins.
okay.
A lot of people know him and follow him. He has a ton of books, and he really, lives in the moment. He's a meditation teacher and just has so much wisdom through that practice of being in the moment,
Yeah.
meditating, breathing. Um, but the program itself is about challenging ourselves. So every phase of this program, we have to pick 12 challenges, 12 7-day challenges, or 12 challenges that we do 7 times.
Okay.
Each phase gets harder and harder. So for example, some of the challenges that I've done are a writing challenge.
Okay.
Write for 7 days or 7 times, and you keep writing more and more. Some people are finishing some stories, short stories or whatever. Another one is, walk 10,000 or more steps a day.
Yeah.
Um, a day, learn 7 dances. It's fun, like just
Yes.
getting your feet wet,
Yeah.
right? But then phase 2 is going to be more like write a book
Oh, wow.
or do a stand-up comedy routine.
Oh,
Um,
great.
and then I cannot even imagine what phase 3 is going to be like. So I'm
I know. What is
slowly
that?
starting to like hyperventilate. But
It's
but
so funny.
that's what these things do.
Yeah.
They get us out of
Shift
our
the
comfort
world.
zone so that we're not thinking the way we think. We're flipping on a different switch in our brain that helps us to come to these awakenings, these moments
Right.
where I'm done, like it was for us in
Mhm.
our marriages, or I'm ready to take it up a notch and be
Yeah.
bigger in my life. And so I want to go back to the marriage and
Mhm.
and what helped you. Doesn't matter how long it took, because I'm a firm believer in trusting the timing of our life,
Yeah.
right? Which is what this science is all about. It's like we are living within a certain energy cycle every year, which is going to help us to grow in some way, shape, or
That's what
form.
you're Yeah.
And sometimes that year is about staying still and nurturing yourself, like it is for you, bringing on a transformation. And other years is about go, be the warrior, fight,
I love
move
both.
forward. And understanding that sometimes things are not going to happen quickly. We're still cocooning
Yeah.
for a few years until we finally reach that clarity. But what helped you along the way finally get to that place where you're like, I'm out of the cloud? And was there anything that you did? Like, did you have a ritual? Did you, um, try a certain type of therapy that really worked, like somatic therapy? A lot of people try that. What was it for you? It could have been something little, or it could have been something, big that really helped you to shift out of that place where you're like, I really made it to the other side now.
Yeah. I mean, I think I don't always think about those times like when I was married and necessarily like, what was the impetus. I just felt like there were things that it wasn't that it was a delusional view
Mm,
of marriage. It was just like these are things that are not normal, and I don't want to be part of this, right? But I was in love, and I thought that that's all you needed, and I didn't recognize all of my own stuff from my childhood
yeah,
and his stuff from his childhood
yeah,
that, you know, I chose to address, and that the other person chose to live in the delusion still. And I don't want any part of that, because I feel like this whole time is like, I'm trying to get to know who I am.
yeah.
And over all these years, I've always done therapy because I find it to be just fascinating to like,
Hmm.
why don't I want to figure myself out? Right.
Right.
I, everyone's so concerned with everybody else. And I'm concerned with the people that I care about and that I love, and those that are surrounding me and the world at large. But like, this is me. I'm only me now. I mean, wherever, you and I agree on our spirituality stuff.
Yeah,
So, but since I'm here now, like I got to figure this person out.
yeah,
And I have to kind of like let go of the attachments of what's been so restrictive for me and how I
yeah.
haven't been able to live just freely. I mean, I had an unusual childhood that
Mhm.
um, now, these last couple of years, my dad passed away last year. My younger brother passed away 2 years ago, and those were things that were really impactful, right?
Yeah.
And it was like little by little, in a way, the ties of this family that
Mm,
the unpleasant ties, I've
yeah,
been letting them go, and it's actually blossomed into me seeing the parts of my family that I didn't get to spend with these people when I was
yeah.
younger. And I've gotten to have this wonderful family now
Wow.
here in Miami. Like my uncles, I have a beautiful group of uncles because there's like four of them that are just five. They're wonderful. They're
I
just
love that.
yeah, and it's reconnected me with my family in Peru, and so got to really, I don't know, it's shift in that way. But I think that I I I did this therapy with this woman these last few years, and she was really good at just like connecting the dots
Yes.
and letting me get to the places to see myself, and not to, she wouldn't tell me, they never do, right?
Right.
She wouldn't tell me, hey, she'd say, so you said this, and this is what's happening. Where are we here? Like, what are we looking for?
Mm,
And
Yeah,
I
she invited you to make the connection for yourself,
Yeah. And
which
I
is
think that that's
beautiful.
when it's more impactful, right? When you can
Yeah,
figure it out,
yeah,
even being led there, but then, oh, it like opens your eyes. And I've kind of like over this, especially, and you say about the cocoon, I do feel like this year really has been eye-opening with respect to what I want from a relationship and what I thought I'm supposed to have,
right,
and how maybe it's because I was raised thinking you're supposed to get married and you're supposed to
right.
do these things.
Yeah. And those
And
are
then
hard patterns to break,
very,
you know, in our subconscious. I think that
yeah,
was part of it for me too, getting married so young and thinking that that was going to solve everything. And I think a part of it was, for me, it was similar. I had a lot of daddy issues,
same.
having been, my parents divorced at the age of 8. And, I can say today, I love my father. I love the relationship we have, but I didn't have him enough. I didn't have him the way I wanted him to. And the way I wanted to. And I felt like in many ways I didn't have a present dad, right? And so I filled that through other relationships, right? And those are the things that you understand later on, and you sacrifice and sacrifice and sacrifice and sacrifice, because that's the way you're supposed to do it. You're supposed to get married, you're supposed to have kids, you're supposed to have the white picket fence, you know, um, and do those things that supposedly are going to create all this fulfillment, all this happiness, solve
But
all your
yeah,
problems.
right. And it doesn't.
Right. And so, yeah, therapy is very powerful in allowing us to just see and
It,
kind of be grateful, like understand our journey, be grateful for the patterns and the learnings, and then today choose not
yeah,
to have those anymore, right?
not to
And I
have
think
those.
for us at our age, getting into new relationships, it is really important to allow yourself to see the options, and right, and to understand that, okay, it doesn't have to be what I thought it needed to be. It could be
Right,
different now, and it could be just as joyful. It could be freeing, um and still be an incredibly loving and
right.
nurturing relationship and fun,
And, and not to get, and not to be like hung up on it, but
yeah,
also, but not to say that if I do want those things, that they're not valid too,
right,
right?
right, exactly.
And I think they're important. And but I I guess it was February. I went to visit Ella in Tampa, and I listened to this book on the way up there. It was like, um, what's his name? Dr. Dispenza, Joe
Joe
Dispenza.
Dispenza, yeah.
Yeah. So I was listening to this book and I'm like, oh, this stuff makes sense. I love meditating. So I'm going to try to do some of the meditations that he does. So it was like February 7th or something. So from that next day, I started doing meditations, and I did meditation every single day for an hour to 2 hours in the mornings up until I went on this trip.
Love it.
And I think it was like, it does kind of shift your brain, right?
I
It,
love his meditations. It really does get you out of
yeah,
the body, it's a very unique way of meditating
it
that's
is.
super powerful.
It's different. I mean, at first I was kind of like he would say things. I'm like, I don't like
What
the
does
way
that
he's
mean?
saying this. Yeah. Like this sounds weird. But then I'm like,
Yeah,
okay. I found a couple that I really liked, and I
yeah,
just did them over and over. And I was like, wow, you can really feel. So now if I want to meditate, before it would be like, oh, I have to be in a quiet place, or I have to be here, or I have to close my eye. Now it's like I can do it, and I can feel the benefits of it anywhere. And it's so
anywhere.
cool because yeah, your body kind of goes, oh, okay, I remember. And you
Yeah.
know, internally I can see the stuff, and it's just
I
it,
love that. Yeah, that's something I've been doing too, is not relying on a meditation app any longer. Is being able to, no matter where I am, just I don't even have to close my eyes, right?
that's
But you learn how to tune in and tune everything out.
mhm.
And that is meditation, you know? Um, I love that because it's almost like, so in this science, the energy of the year begins February 4th. So not January 1st. And so
That's
it was
cool.
almost like you were literally going into your
Right
cocoon.
there.
Yeah, you were just really going
Huh.
into yourself and starting to feel your energy and tune
Process.
into, yeah, process everything.
Mhm.
I love it. Going back to El Camino,
Yeah. Wow. That's good.
what were your biggest ahas with that whole process? Like, what did you walk away with, and how do you think it's changed a bit of who you are?
It really did. I mean, and I left on the May 7th and I got back on the 17th. I'm gonna tell you, and she's still there. She's doing 40 days and I miss her. But
Mm,
we did the first week and then she's been doing it by herself for 3 weeks. Her boyfriend came, I think the fourth, well, just yeah, like yesterday. And he's gonna go and do the last 2 weeks with her.
okay.
And so it was the weirdest thing because I went on it, did all the walks, met beautiful people along the way, just walking and talking. And we would eat with somebody, talk with someone else, have coffee with one, and everyone's there with their own Camino,
Yeah.
right? And and listen, I only did 5 days. So I did like a baby version, but we're walking on the second day, I guess it was, and I go to Crystal. Listen, so next year when we do this, we need, and she looks at me and she's like, do you know what you just said? And I'm like, no, 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 no. I'm never doing this again. And she's like, you said it. And I thought, I really want to, like, I'm called to do it.
Right.
Not the religious reasons, but the
Yes.
spiritual reasons. And the
Yeah.
feeling like I left and I didn't want to go. My boyfriend took me to the airport and I was just like, mind you, I'm not a big like camper kind of girl.
Right.
So we did do it in a nice way. Like she
Yeah.
put in hotels. I didn't stay in the hostels. I
I
just
feel yeah.
yeah.
I can camp, but I like glamping a little bit better, you
Me
know?
too. And we had wonderful food. We actually went to a couple of Michelin star restaurants. It was amazing. Like
Wow.
we did it right. But I came back. I was miserable when I left. I came back and I don't know, it was like this lightness. And I'm not sure at what point something happened. And it's not like this like great, like, oh wow, but it was it's so impactful. And I think Mark was like a little like because I left like meh, and I came back and I just am like, you know what? In my mind, I realized I've been focusing so much of my attention on him, on the relationship, on what, and I don't need to. And it's
Mm,
okay. And like, I don't even want to. I
yeah.
love him and I want to be with him. But like, why am I focusing all my energy
Right.
on that, which is creating so much stress and chaos when he can be who he wants to be?
Right.
I can be who I want to be. And
Yeah.
if we're together, great. And if we're not, we're not.
Yeah.
But, you know,
And you'll be led. You'll be led. I think that's what's so beautiful about these spiritual
mhm,
walks or, opportunities is that we create space for ourselves and we create space for God, right? And I define God very openly, right? For me, I always tell what I tell myself, and as part of my morning prayer is wherever I am, God is. And that could be in a butterfly, that could be in a tree, that can be in an idea that floats
mhm.
into my mind. Um, anything, for me, I'm not religious, that we've talked about spirituality a lot. And I find God, the energy of God of everywhere. But we have to make space for it, you
Yeah,
know?
I appreciate it.
We have
And
to appreciate it and the clarity that can come through creating space for ourselves. Flow is something that I talk about, that I teach, and there's so many components that help us create flow. But for me, one of the most important ones is we have to create that space, the quiet, the connecting to nature, to spirit, however that feels for you. And those are the small but very powerful revelations that come through. Is it, I don't need to work on this. I don't have to work. Just let it be. Let it show up the way it needs to show up.
Yeah, I think maybe in a way, like it's that controlling, want to control the outcomes and want to like, and I didn't see it as controlling beforehand. I saw it as like, hey, we need some definition, we need like some security, we need some this, that, and the other. And now I'm kind of like, I don't think I don't think I need that.
Right.
But
I love it. What a huge shift, Misha.
was. I mean, for me, that's a pretty big shift because
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
liked
Well,
having things.
looking at your again, the
Yeah,
astrology.
tell me.
This astrology that I'm talking about, because I work with two astrologies, traditional, 12 signs, 12 houses, love
Yeah,
it. I utilize it every single day with all my clients. But I also, the flow roadmap that I created is based in a much simpler astrology,
yeah,
which is feng shui astrology or 9-star key astrology. And we really focus on three things. Like each of us have three energies that create the archetypes of energy who we are. And you are a badass. I don't know how else to put that. Like
that's funny.
you have the
Oh,
energy that
thanks.
is required, I feel, to be a leader, to be an entrepreneur, to keep going when the going gets tough, to sustain something, right? And
Thank
not
you.
that other archetypes can't do it, but you're more built for success, right? So you have the primary, yeah, girl. You have the primary archetype of the leader, right? The leader who needs clarity, needs vision. So when you're in a cloudy space, you're going to be like, I don't feel like myself.
That's not good.
Yeah, it's not good. So you're
Mm.
kind of like the sage on the mountain that if you know where you're going and you're inspired and you've got that vision, you're like, oh my God, let's
I
go.
go.
And
Yeah.
people will follow. People need to follow you, you know? Um, you're not here to be a follower. You're here to lead.
Yeah.
Um, and so I'm sure that being the boss of your business has to feel so much better, right? Than
Yeah, it's good. I like it.
yeah.
Yeah.
So the other archetype is the archetype of the warrior, which is also very leadership focused. And this is it's the energy of growth. I want to take something and I want to grow it, you know? Yeah, it's the tree that is leaning up towards the sun and it's like, stretch me, stretch me.
Uh-huh.
And it's very goal oriented, let's go, let's go. I'm gonna do whatever I have to do, to make this happen.
Really.
Really. And this, I would say you probably feel so much better when you're organized, you have your checklist, you have your strategy, you have your plans. Like it
I
helps
do.
you to bring a little bit of calm into, is that true for
Yeah.
you?
Even
Yeah.
it's so true. Like my closet at home has been a mess and it's been driving me crazy. It's like, and then I'm thinking about work stuff and then I'm like, oh, but my closet, how dumb. So finally this weekend I cleaned up. I didn't clean out my closet. I
Yeah.
cleaned the closet,
Yes.
I got rid of like so much stuff.
Yeah.
I've carried that with me these days. It's just made me feel
It's a
so good.
huge energetic shift. It
It
really is. I did a
is.
closet detox recently.
Oh, I like
Got
the
rid of
name.
10 bags of stuff. I
That's a
have more of
lot.
like I don't know what they call it. Um, there's a term for it. I want to say bullet closet. It's not bullet closet. It's like
Oh, a capsule.
a
Capsule.
capsule. I have more of a
Do you have
capsule.
one? Ooh, I like that. Yeah, this isn't very capsule right
Yeah.
today, but yes.
Yeah. So, and then your third archetype is this mountain I've been talking about. I call it
Ugh,
the immovable mountain. When you believe something, you're like, come hell or high water, like, don't get in my way. This is my belief. There's a lot of fairness that's associated with this. Like, I don't know if you're someone who likes things to be fair and
yeah,
just
yeah.
and
Equal and
yeah, but this is the
yeah,
energy of transformation, essentially. Like you
oh,
are someone who needs to transform things
I want to.
in this life, transform yourself, but also I would imagine a really great mentor for, the
Oh,
people who work for you, who, have to go through their own transformations, and you're like paying attention to it and going, I kind of see what you're going through. Let me give you some advice. Let me help you. Like there is probably a coach like aspect of how you lead. I don't know. Is that
I
true?
think, well, I think the people that we have a lot of people that work in the stores and
Hmm.
everything, and I don't spend a lot of time with those people, and I probably should spend more, but I also feel like I feel like my managers, the managers of my stores and the managers in the bakery
Hmm.
are really they're the key components to then spreading goodness amongst the rest of my team. And I really, this is one of the few times in these years, like we go through these cycles,
Yeah.
but I feel like the managers that we have right now are just beautiful, wonderful women.
Mm.
And
Wow.
it's, we did just hire a guy, so we'll see how that pans. But
Yeah.
the others, they're just, I don't know, there's some really good people. And like our assistant is wonderful now. We have a wholesale specialist who's wonderful. My absolute favorite is my COO since forever. She's been with me for 10 years. And like,
Wow.
but I also realized like it's gotta feel right. And it has to feel right with the people, and it has to feel right with the avenue that we do business. And if it doesn't, I don't want to do it. Like I
Yeah.
don't want to do it,
Yeah.
and I won't do it. And I realized that like I don't know, there's that projector thing that I was in. Yeah, okay.
Human
So
design. Yep.
yes, and resonates with me, like the invitation. And I was so irritated with that at first because I'm like, I don't want to wait around. But
Wait
then
to
when
be
I,
invited. You're a
yeah,
projector, Misha?
yeah.
Yeah.
And I understood the wait to be invited. It's not like where you sit and you're like,
No.
well, it's an active, it's not a
Yeah.
passive wait. It's a gentle nudging, but it's like,
You have to put yourself out into the world so they can
yeah,
experience you, right?
right.
Like this. I invited you to come on
Yeah.
this podcast
I love
because I
it.
see you, I experience you, and that's what waiting to be invited really means. It's like you're not sitting and doing nothing.
No.
Similar to manifesting generator or generators like me.
Yeah.
I'm a manifesting generator,
I
and
believe it.
part of it is to respond, which
Yeah.
means that it's not that I'm not taking action, but when something shows up, whether it's an invitation or someone throws me an idea or a request, I have to listen to my initial gut response. And if
Okay.
it's an inherent yes, like full body
Yeah.
yes, go for it. If
Yeah.
it's oh, it doesn't feel good, my body wants to step away, it's a no. And I've learned the hard way. I go
That's
back and remember those times where I, in the moment, knew that it was a no and I did it anyway. And it robbed me of my energy. It wasn't in alignment. It just felt
didn't work out.
bad. I
Right?
wasn't successful.
Yeah.
So, yeah, projectors are here to lead. Projectors also need a lot of space
I do.
because you're
I'm
highly
very,
sensitive,
very.
in my world, like you've got fire, a lot of fire. You're an Aries, obviously, and you have a lot of fire in your face.
Oh, here.
So fire and metal, which is the leader archetype, together creates a lot of sensitivity, which means sometimes you have to separate yourself from people. You've got to detox, you've got to build up your energy again, but you're here to guide others, to provide wisdom, to provide leadership. Um,
Thank you.
yeah,
Interesting to hear this because I find that like when talking and like talking with you or talking with my employees or talking with anybody,
yeah,
it's like I'm right there, right? Like I'm not able to focus on, that's why I'm not really great with groups because I
right.
can focus on that person and then the
Yes.
next person and then
Yeah.
but I also find that after a day of that, then
You're
I'm tired.
drained.
I
Yeah.
am drained. Yeah. And
Yeah.
I recognize that like I'm more of an introvert
Yeah.
than extrovert. I have moments where I really enjoy, and
Hmm.
I think I enjoy those moments with my friends and my family and that kind of thing. But I used to kind of push, and then I would be so tired. And then you get to the point where it's like, okay, now I have to talk to someone else. And I just like I almost can't. And
Yeah.
I'm like, my gosh, I'm done. And
Yeah.
so now I realize, okay, if I know that then later, let's say I have to talk in front of whatever in the evening, I don't love evening talks because I've already had the day, right?
Exactly.
Which I'm tired. And so then I'll meditate beforehand and it resets my nervous system. And then I'm like, okay, I can do this. But if I
Yeah.
don't do that, I'm just off,
You're
you know?
off and you're
Yeah.
not going to benefit and no one's going to benefit from it.
Right.
Yeah. Understanding ourselves deeply and how we operate, which is what I love about human design in particular.
Yeah.
It's like so specific about how to operate to manage and master your energy, right?
Yes.
And when we understand it and we make these small tweaks, like it changes
Does.
everything. And we give ourselves permission to operate optimally, not the way someone else wants us to operate.
And also, with respect to that and employees, I see, for example, Vanessa. I know
Mhm.
Vanessa and I've known her for 10 years. And she and I have learned from each other how to operate together. And so she knows when and I know when she needs her coffee or when
Right.
we're hungry or when, and I love her brain because my kids have ADD,
Yeah.
my ex, my boyfriend, I'm surrounded by ADD people.
Yeah,
I think they're brilliant
they are.
because their brains are always going, right?
Yeah.
And so, but then also they need to have a different kind of, like, I could sit here and you and I could talk about all the details of things and be like, blah, 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 but they're lost. It's
Yeah.
like,
Their
and I
brain
know,
is somewhere else.
like, yeah, they're already planning like the next 20 steps ahead. And so then I know, okay, with her, so she and I can have a conversation that's quick and she's gotten everything. It's
Yeah.
like, wow. But if I go on and on, she's
You
like,
lose her. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And she loses
So
her momentum. Yeah.
yeah. And now I think understanding each one of us, like, and when you understand your people better, then giving them the space to be like, okay, you're a morning person, you're not,
Right.
and what does it mean, or how do you learn, or are we getting each other right now? If not, let's take a moment. Granted, there's always people that like, okay, so if you're not doing your job, that's different.
Yeah.
But I think when you're working with people and you understand the way they work, then it makes for a better environment and
Yep.
more ease.
Being
And
able to individualize
yeah, yeah,
management and leadership and make it more like, in the corporate world, we would call it strengths based or focusing on the positive, not right, not the negative.
right.
But in the spiritual world, it's really like, I see you. I see you.
That's so nice. I like that.
And it's going to benefit me and my business if I
Mhm.
allow you to operate at your best, right?
Right.
And
Yeah.
how amazing is that? So let's talk about the business a little bit because
Eh,
we're close to the hour, but
Oh,
I know,
geez,
doesn't
time
it
flew
flow
by.
so
Yeah,
fast?
you're great.
I
So
know.
easy to talk to you.
I know. And if we were in person, we would definitely be like 3 hours,
I know.
and a
Outside
few
with the
and a
dog.
few cocktails. Yeah. A few cocktails later. Um, but let's I so how many years have you been in business now? Since 2005. Long
Yeah.
time, Misha.
In
Like
19.
it's
Yeah, so
incredible. I
long.
mean, we're still at a place where, 50% of new businesses close in 1 year. Like it's crazy,
Very
right? And so um
true.
yeah, so what have you loved about your journey and what's still exciting for you? Obviously the vending machines.
Yeah, I'm excited about those. It's like it goes in these waves
Mhm.
and I think that ever since 2016, that's when I was going through my divorce.
Yeah,
Prior to that, financially, it was not difficult, and the details of that whole
yeah,
thing. But so these last years, coupled with this difficulty financially because of having to pay so much to whatever, um, it really, I think that was my challenge, right? Is to like learn how to do all aspects of the business. I don't like that part. I just
yeah.
like money, but when there's it's like, oh, I really need to figure this out. So
Yes.
it's been really hard. And so doing the business bootstrapping, um, where while objectively, the people around us, who are our customers, thank you all. Like, it's so funny. Some lady said to me the other day, she's like, oh, because I was talking about something. She's like, oh, well, it's for you, no big deal, because you're rich. And I was like, lady, wow. And
Wow.
it bothered me, because it's like, if I was rich, I would be so excited. But the reality is, when you have a small business, I don't
Yeah.
know a lot of rich small business
I
owners,
really don't either. And the proof is out
right?
there. You do the research. I've looked it up. The majority of small business owners, especially in South Florida, um, the majority
Yeah.
are earning less than $50,000 a year salary for themselves. I'm
It's
sorry, but that's not rich. That's an
us.
assumption. Yeah, a nasty
Yeah,
assumption. Yeah.
it isn't. It is. And but it was also interesting, because part of it made me think, okay, so in a way, are we doing, that means maybe we're doing a good job of, like, okay, the
Yes.
business looks good, and it's a wonderful business, really. I mean, we make things that are good and make people
Yes.
happy. And that's the whole point.
Yes.
So, but then it's like, okay, yes, so it has been 19 years. And there's the whole, like, oh, well, why don't you do cupcakes and sandwiches and this and that? And I've always kind of stuck to what we do, because I feel like I'm not a serial entrepreneur.
Yeah.
I'm not. This is what I do. I like it. It's working. But now I want to change it. And so that instead of having more stores, I
Okay.
want to have less stores.
Okay.
And I want to really focus on the vending machines and
Okay.
on the wholesale part.
Okay.
Um, we're very excited because we have a new space coming.
Okay. Yay.
So, and I say that as I'm telling you, I want to have less stores, but we're going to
Right.
consolidate
Okay.
2 stores into one,
Gotcha.
um, to be back on US 1, where we
Okay.
originally had a store. It's
Yes.
exciting.
Okay.
More to come.
Amazing.
And, and with respect to the vending machines, um, we have 2 going into the Miami airport by
Okay.
the end of this, well, actually next week. That's exciting.
Yes.
And and we have 1 going into FIU,
Yay,
and
finally.
I know, finally, I know. I've been trying to do that for like 2, almost 3 years.
Yeah.
Those poor people, I harass them,
Well, you
but
gotta keep going. That's right. Keep pushing.
happening. And then we have another, I just talked to the people from Merritt Park, so we're gonna put 1 there. And I want, yeah, little by little, I want to grow with vending machines, because the product really, it holds up really well
Okay.
in the cold. And it also, the vending machines are beautiful. The company that we are working with, they're just lovely people. It's called Ameri Kiosk, and
Okay.
they do the Carlo's, Carlo's Bakery, those cake slices. They're really
Yes.
pretty vending machines. Yeah. So it's those vending machines,
Okay.
and they're like a different quality than we have.
Mhm.
This is our 4th vending machine company that we
Wow.
worked with. So, we also have another vending machine by a company called Bite Technology, and it's like
Okay.
a refrigerator, right? And
Oh,
so they're smaller, so they're kind of like really cool they could be like for a cafeteria type of
right.
thing. And so we talked with WeWork last week. So I don't know, I'm crossing my fingers. I would love to have them in WeWorks. It'd be amazing. So, like, send out the love
I
to the
will.
WeWork.
I've got it
Send it out.
here. I've got it here. Sending it
Get
out,
all
pushing
it.
it out. How exciting, Misha. I love
It's just
this.
where I want. That's the avenue I'd like to go.
Okay.
And
Mm-hmm.
I really want to have I want to have a beautiful
Yes.
store here in the Gables, in US 1.
Kind of like your
And
flagship store.
yeah,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
that's the idea, to kind of
Okay.
bring back that original Riviera Plaza store. And
Yes.
you walk in and it smells good, and that's where we're baking everything. And just to kind of go back to the roots,
Yeah.
because ideally we can then, we're in like 10 Whole Foods. Well, I'd like to be in all the Whole Foods,
Right.
like we'd like to be in Wild Fork, frozen. We'd like
Mm.
to do all these things, because I think that our product frozen is actually spectacular. And so it's like, because we flash freeze everything. So it's
Right.
not just taken and put in the freezer, which,
Right.
you do, but flash freezing changes the landscape of our stuff, because it really is so good when it's
It
defrosted. It's
retains, right? It retains everything. It's
everything.
moisture, the nutrients,
Yeah.
all of it.
All the things.
All the things, all the
Like,
things.
you know,
It's so amazing. What's amazing to me is I'm sure you've had to learn so much along the way,
yeah.
right? From
Like,
just baking a cupcake in your kitchen, right? Or it was a family recipe,
yeah.
and then figuring out all of these things along the way. Like, what an incredible
Lots of
journey.
mistakes. Lots of
Sure. Lots of
mistakes.
mistakes, but I love the simplicity of it, honestly, going back
Yeah.
to sticking to what you're good at, sticking to
Yeah.
what feels good and not having to be a serial entrepreneur. I don't think that's for everybody. And that goes back to knowing yourself,
Right.
and knowing your strengths. Um, so most important question of all,
Yeah.
what's your favorite flavor?
Funny. You know, I have a slice of coconut cake over here. Uh, yeah, because we did this video thing yesterday to film for the vending machines. We need to have some clips.
Okay.
And it was like a slice of coconut cake left. And I thought I had taken it home, but I hadn't. And so then our wholesale manager, she's like, "You forgot your slice." So it's over there. I'm gonna have it afterwards. But I'd really like the coconut cake slice. That's today.
Yeah.
But what's your favorite flavor?
I'm um okay, why is the word not coming to me now? What's the combination of chocolate and vanilla? The red velvet.
Oh yeah,
I
that's good.
love the red velvet.
That
When
is
I see
good.
it in the little 6-pack, like
Yeah.
I always look for the 6-pack that has one or two red velvets in it. So I shop at Milam's, so that's where I
Yes.
get my Misha's cupcakes.
Thank you.
And to me, honestly, Misha, like they're freaking delicious. They just are. Like
Thanks.
you've got a really good cupcake. I've tried others. Like I like to try different brands,
Of course.
but I just you're my go-to. And of course, then my heart warms up because then I think of you and I'm like,
I mean, we've known each other for
you
a long
know?
time. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
True. Oh,
Uh,
I don't know if you're interested, but we just started again to do vegan. So we're gonna have them come out soon.
I
So
am interested in my daughter. She's very health conscious because she's got allergies and she
yes,
just feels
yes.
better when she eats vegan. So,
Okay.
so we like
Right.
vegan. We also do gluten-free as much as we can, because of again, just
Yeah, your stomach,
sensitivities,
right?
just
Mhm.
sensitivities. But yes, I love the vegan stuff. Absolutely.
Absolutely. I'll text you when it's coming out.
Please. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you're gonna get a text from me anyways after this, so we can hook up and
Let's do it.
okay, so one last question that I've been asking everybody. It's more it stems from the astrology. The astrology of this year is just so powerful from a global perspective. Um, with one of the biggest shifts that we're never going to see again in our lifetime, which is the planet of Pluto, which is a planet of transformation, the planet of truth. Um, moving into the sign of Aquarius, which is about revolution, which is about doing things differently and innovatively and, being rebellious and being unique and um, really bringing community together, all of those things. So and that transit is going to be affecting us for the next 20 years.
Oh,
Yeah.
great.
And so that's a long time, right?
It
And I
is.
know that we are in a time and space where change is so quick. Like it's really hard to even think about what my life is going to be like next year. But
Yeah.
I'm wondering, when you think of those things of transformation,
Mhm.
revolution, rebellion, doing things unique and different, building community, what comes up for you, either personally or in your business? Like in over the next 20 years, what does that look and feel like for you? What could it be for you?
20 years. Wow. I mean, I think like I want, for me with the business, I want the business to, I want to grow. I don't want to grow in a way that like, I don't want to do franchises and that kind of thing. I want to grow maintaining the consistency of the product, but I also really want to grow with an investor who's the right investor, somebody that's not like in your face, annoying and like telling you blah, 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 but brings
Yeah.
experience and skills that I don't have, and the knowledge of like how to actually grow what what we do
Right.
in a way that's, you know, not going to then, mm, I don't know, sacrifice what we've built,
Yes.
but really to kind of take a look at what we have built and say, okay, so you're a business that started from your home. I've never had an investor. I've really never gotten funding from anybody, which I really would like. And what could we do with this business if we did have a marketing plan and budget?
Right.
What
Yeah.
could we do if we did have investors for, like creating new product lines with respect to like, okay, doing, box cakes for stores, that kind of
Yeah.
thing, or like, or batter, those kinds of things. Like,
Yeah.
what
And
could we
really
do?
like doing things. What I'm hearing and feeling too is like innovative, different things that
Yeah,
you probably wouldn't do if you were just on your own and not supported by an investor. And
yeah,
this Aquarian energy is all about technology and innovation, which you're already going in that direction with the vending machines and the flash freezing and
lightning.
amazing. That's so
Right. So
cool.
if we could grow like
Yeah.
that, 'cause I realize like we're here, but we could be
Yeah.
very, we could really go far. The business could go far. We just don't have the resources, right? Because we've done it all on our own.
Right.
And I say our own because the reality is like, what would I do without the Vanessas and the
Right.
Brandy
Yep.
and the people, Jenny's in the back of my house, people, like what would we do? So, and then to learn also, so I do have that team that is so wonderful. How do we then give them the opportunity to, what do we do? Can I give them some stock options? Like, I don't know. I
Right.
don't know. All that kind of stuff. But I don't know how to do that yet. And I'd like to learn about it. So I feel like if there were more resources financially, then we could focus on the things that then help our people and then help us grow. So that's kind of where I see.
I
And
love it.
like, and personally, I we bought our house last year, as you know, and I'd like to sell it and buy something really cute old Spanish.
Oh, love it.
But whatever. And I'd like to have someplace on the beach. I love the beach.
Mm.
I don't know. I just like this journey. I started to realize, like, I think the second half of the life, I'm 48. So I feel like that second half part, that
Mhm.
means I live till I'm 100. Wow.
Yes,
Better.
exactly. Every year that goes by, we're living longer and longer, because of all
Yeah.
of these innovations and how
Right.
we are taking care of ourselves more than, our parents did and our grandparents did. And, so yes, girl, we're going to put it out there. I see you on the beach already, like in this
I feel I'm going to
beautiful,
be on the beach.
yes,
Me too. Oh my God.
I'll be your
Well,
neighbor. Tell
I'd be
me
like,
hey.
I'm waiting for the wine. Where are you?
Yes, come on. I love it. Oh, what a beautiful vision. I'm going to put that out for you, Misha. I feel it.
Yeah, dear
I
sister.
feel it.
Yeah. Put
Yeah.
it out there.
This has been
Yeah.
so much fun. Thank you for sharing so much of yourself today, so much of your journey, of your life. And I just know that it's going to, inspire so many other women and men out there. This has been a year for me where I've connected with so many heart-centered, loving, compassionate, innovative men that I'm like, you know what? I got to bring them onto the Fierce and Flowing podcast because, um,
Absolutely. I'd like to see some men on the
yes,
Flowing
yeah, I
podcast.
put out at least 3 or 4 of those interviews already.
That's awesome.
So check them out. They're great, great conversations and more to come. This is
You're attracting that goodness.
I am attracting that goodness and just the giving and receiving of that energy in the world, which is what's necessary right now. And but I love you dearly. Thank you for
I love
being
you.
here
Thank you.
and can't wait to catch up more.
Me too. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. I'm
And
glad to see
one
you.
last question. How does everybody get a hold of you? Like if they want to communicate with you, is like Instagram or LinkedIn, what's the best
Oh,
form of
I really
connection?
don't do a lot of social media,
Yeah.
like me personally. So probably my email is good. And it's
Okay.
just Misha@mishascupcakes.com.
Misha at mishascupcakes.com. And I'm going to go ahead and put that in the show notes, everybody. So, so yeah, reach out to Misha and connect with her. and go by the stores and the vending machines and give the cupcakes some love, and you won't regret it. They're delicious. And thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in today. And please rate this podcast, share this podcast, and leave us some comments. We'd love to hear what you think about the episodes. So have a great day, everybody. Take care.